It's strange, isn't it, how people are so obsessed with it being the end of the world, or it being close to the end, or perhaps a certain age of grand enlightenment. The Matrix is breaking down and we're going to realize everything, or that something in the environment is going to kill us soon. It always feels like us as human beings, we're not really comfortable with things as they are dragging out. We want them to change. We just don't feel okay as a whole. I mean, there's plenty of people who do, but as a whole, we're not exactly okay with the things as they are, or who we are, or how we feel. So, and our little world becomes very big when we start comparing it or thinking about the vaster world. We start comparing these our own subconscious wants for everything to change, or it to be the end, or just there to be a vast changing, because we want these individual changes to happen, and we feel like we can't do it ourselves, so we want these vaster changes to be happening, whether it's the ascending age, descending age, end of the world, what have you. We don't feel like by our own strength we can kind of bridge that gap between not feeling okay and getting to where things are different. So we kind of project that onto the world, and what we want from the world, or what will happen in the world, what we think will happen in the world soon, what is happening, or what will happen soon. And just to change gears a little bit, it's sometimes hard to reconcile, or it seems hard to reconcile, like somebody like Jesus, an avatar, saying, go and spread my word, or I am the light, I and my Father in heaven are one, or only through me can you achieve salvation, things like that. To reconcile that with, also following Odin, or feeling like you're called by Odin, or you have some kind of spiritual alignment with Odin, or any spirit or spiritual path, trying to reconcile these various spiritual paths with these big statements. So I think that Christ, I don't think that he wanted everybody to be Christian. I think narrowing it down, an avatar's message, to being that religion and everybody being that religion, I don't think that any avatars really wanted that. They've always tried to give messages to us that were appropriate for a people or for a time, but also to ring true for those in the future who they ring true for, and who that message needs to get to. And I think that there's an ultimate acceptance from these avatars and from gods, that whatever stage we're at, they're willing to work with us at that stage, or they're willing for us to be further away from them for a time, or come back, or work things out in a more obtuse relationship to what they said, or what their the prophecies were, what their gospels were, things like that. I think that human beings want to confine the words of avatars, or the desires of gods, or spiritual paths. We want to narrow it down and say, like, only this is true, or only that is true. Because it's hard for us to think of everything as being true, because we want to know what's true. We want to know what to follow. We want to know what to think. And we want that to be everybody's answer, because we feel like if it's answer for us, if it's our alignment, then it must be all of humanity's alignment. It must be all of humanity's answer, because either it's helped me so much, or it's brought so much light to my heart, my life, my path, or also the other side of the reason why everything's not okay, or not good, or not right, is because there's so many people who don't believe like me. And that's more the constricting element of the human consciousness, where we want our truth to be the truth of everybody. And we want to say that if you don't think like me, then you're bad, or you're incorrect, or you're holding humanity back. because we still do have that little bit of a, I wouldn't even say tribal. It goes all the way back to kind of groupthink when we were evolving, as apes, our little ape clan or whatever, and viewing other ones as the enemy. And that was going back to acquiring resources, because there's only a certain amount of resources to go around, or that was, that's the primal instinct that let our groups survive, that later became human beings. But then it starts kind of bleeding into spirituality and religion, and it shapes nations, and religions are founded. I don't think any avatar really wanted religion as it exists now. And I think that words get twisted because people twist words. We're very good at taking something and putting it into a box and not letting it connect to other things, not letting it being part of everything else, not letting it connect to everything, but not dominate everything. And I think that we've been struggling with that as a human race for a very, very long time. And I think that, certain avatars tried to resolve that, like Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, or Shakyamuni Buddha, as he's known. He wanted to get out of that and really get humanity focused on how to resolve their own suffering, their own problems, and not focus. Now, Shakyamuni Buddha, he did believe in God in the general sense, in the source sense, but he didn't talk about God because he came at a time when Hinduism was very much about ritual and appeasing the gods rather than working on yourself. And also, even with a lot of yogis or a lot of ascetics, they're very focused on depriving the body because too much, or most things are bad, and too much of anything, like any more than this absolute minimum, is bad for your consciousness, for your body. That was the idea that he encountered. He encountered a lot of ascetics that would just starve themselves and only live on a tiny bit of food. But then, though, he saw that rejection of everything as just as confining as any other kind of religion before, and he predicted of religions to come. But the Buddha did talk about a middle way, and the middle way kind of can connect everybody's life, and it can be workable in everybody's life. I'm not a Buddhist, but I do like how Shakyamuni really, that was his kind of goal. It wasn't to try to make people understand God, because he saw that people in doing that were just trying to appease him instead of working on themselves. And I feel like in the same way, avatars in general, when they talk about God, or when they talk about, I am this, I am that, it always feels like, especially the avatars that we know of before Buddha, it always feels like they're talking in a very, very concrete, direct way, because they were talking to that kind of consciousness. The people were stuck in that kind of consciousness. And a lot of people don't realize that as human beings evolve, there's different avatars, there's different teachings, there's different things the gods and spirits expect of us compared to what they used to expect of us. Like, for instance, Odin, he expected something different from the Vikings than he does of his followers now. And I don't think it was ever racial. People have twisted it. The Nazis definitely tried to twist Odin and just a Nordic culture in a very along racial lines, but it was never really racial. And at the same time, the gods and spirits expect different things of us than continuously fighting. There's other ways to be strong and to fight and to connect to Thor without physically fighting. I think Thor and Odin actually expect different things of us now than they used to, because we're at a higher level of consciousness, and they can relate to us in new ways. And they've been they're constantly waiting for us to get higher and higher levels, and to be able to get to relate to them in grander and grander and more acute individual ways within, rather than just external. They're waiting for us. They're always waiting for us to progress, because the gods and spirits are always progressing, and they're always progressed in a way. They can see their future much more than we can see ours, and they feel the future much more than we can feel ours. And they're continuously waiting for us to evolve, but then they expect different things of us once our consciousness hits higher and higher notes, higher and higher levels, along this whole human path that we've been following. It's a constant struggle to, especially as a universalist like me, it's a constant struggle to relate the things that people have tried to make so concrete, when I don't think that they were ever meant to be concrete. And certainly different things are expected of us now from the spirits and gods. At any rate, this has been a bit of a rant in the graveyard. I hope you all have enjoyed it. Questions, comments, concerns, shoot them down in the comment section below on YouTube. At any rate, thank you very much, and I want all of you to have a wonderful day.